of physical death. That's so that this can be recorded, what I have to say about physical death, because nobody is ever speaking the truth as far as it can be spoken in concepts of physical death. I will do my best to impart the idea of that to you. Now, you can only get the idea. It's no good conceptualizing what I'm about to say. If you conceptualize what I'm about to say, you'll have question after question, because all concepts lead to questions. But when you just get the idea, you don't have any questions. You just get the idea. But I have to use concepts to describe what I'm going to say. And so therefore I'm going to use concepts to endeavour to impart the idea to you. Whether I'm successful depends on you. Whether you can listen without conceptualizing what I say. And first of all, to understand physical death, the state of physical death, you have to truly understand the world. Because what is not physical death, the everyday living life, is the living of the life of the world. You are living the life of the world. I am living the life of the world. As a body, I am in the world. And so are you. And that's the only thing that's here, is the world. And that's the only thing that prevents us from knowing the mystery of death as much as we can get the idea of that. Is because the world is in us, the world is around us, and we are the world. But we're not the world at the time of physical death, the death of the brain. Something different happens then, or is then. So to understand the world in us, the best example that I can give is what's going on today in Australia. Today in Australia, they're having a federal election to see which party or which politicians govern the country for the next 3 years. And as in every country, to demonstrate the world, there's always the equivalent to begin with of Labour or Liberal, who are supposed to be diametrically opposed and behave that way. In the UK, there's Conservative and Labour, the same division, and in America, there is the Republicans and the Democrats, each one representing the other, Democrats being Labour, Conservatives being Liberal, or that equivalent. And then there's the independents. And so everyone in Australia today is voting for one side or the other, or something in between the two sides. The result is complication. That's the world that we live in, and that represents you and I as creatures of the world. We're always making decisions, for or against. We like this, or we don't like that. We favour this, or we don't favour that. That is the world. And as you can see in your experience, that world is right through every single one of us. And that's how we behave as worldly creatures. So physical existence is the existence of the world. Because you like this person more than that person, or you love that person and not this person, or your love for that person changes, you don't favour it anymore, so that you could one day be a conservative and then change to Labour, or then you could change to an independent stance, which is still a stance, a position. And so it goes on. You love this one for a while and you have children by her or him, and then you leave them. And you say you still love them. Yeah, but you didn't love them enough, or they didn't love you enough. And the children suffer, and then they want their daddy or their mummy, naturally, and because daddies and mummies are represent a division. There's mummy and there's daddy, and that's the world. So the place is filled with mummies and daddies, and males and females, and children and adults. The whole place is a complicated, blooming mess. I trust I've been able to demonstrate in your experience that you live the world, that you are the world, in this physical existence, in this physical body. Now death is demonstrably the end of the physical body. That means it's the end of the world. Now, there was a lady yesterday who I heard get the idea. And this lady said, as far as I can translate it into words, she said something like, I have the sense now that in physical death, me is still here. Is that lady here, please? Yes. You said something like that, didn't you? And that's the truth. Now what we've got to look at is this me. If we're going to understand physical death, you can't understand physical death because understanding is the limit of the worldly mind and emotions. So you've got to get the idea. So you've got to be able to look at me inside that body, which I've spoken about a number of times, but I'll describe it again. Me is the place of stillness and silence within that body, where there is no I. Now, I is of the world. I is the intelligence of the world. As you'll notice, everybody uses I. Our politicians say, leaders will say, I will do this, or we will do this, which is a gathering of I's. And you say, I will do this, won't do that. I is the index of the world, the intelligent index of the world. Wherever I am, there is world. Now, me is the place inside your body which I can never reach. For I am divided. I am a creature or an intelligence of the world. I am for or against. I reflect on the world, and therefore my whole system reacts to the reflection on the world, whether it's my love life, the children that are killed, the poor people that suffer in the indiscriminate wars and terrorist attempts. I am a response to that, a reaction to all that stuff. Now me, as you have heard me say several times during this seminar, is not involved. Me is not involved in the world. It is a place inside you, the tenderest, most intelligent place inside your body is me. But, as you have seen in the exercise of loving God or loving truth, you're loving nothing. You're really loving me. And of course you're not silly enough to put your me onto the speaker. You keep your me where it is inside that body. So me is nothing to speak of. And yet that is what I love. Because me is the first aspect of God in existence. But me is not in existence because existence is the world. Me is uninvolved. Me is detached from the entire scene. Me is the nothing out of which everything comes. So me is an extraordinary power which we can only, in the worldly intelligence that we have, we can only describe it as nothing. And of course, because we can't have anything coming out of nothing, we say it doesn't exist. Well, it's true that me does not exist. It's just that me is a super-intelligence or a supra-intelligence that is too intelligent to exist, but is the very means by which existence in every one of our bodies comes into being or manifests in the world.